Back with us on the SportsMax Zone, the West Indies went down by 44 runs to India in the second match of their 3-game ODI series at the Narendra Modi Stadium earlier on Wednesday. The hosts, who now have an unassailable 2-0 series lead, were sent into bat by the Windies. They recovered from a shaky start to score 237 for 9 of their 50 overs. Surya Kumar Yadav top scoring with 64, while the vice-captain K.L. Rahul made 49. And after a fairly positive start, the Windies, Prasij Krishna took 4 for 12 of 9 overs to bowl the Windies out for 193. The skipper on the day for the West Indies, Nicholas Pooran, spoke with the media.
First of all, I want to give Jesus our praise and thanks for life, health and strength. Definitely do the bat. I think we can build that partnerships. Even in partnerships, we kept losing wickets in crucial times. I think we lost the game, there in the 49th over. As much as we lose wickets early up, that 39th over was very crucial for us with Fabian, Aki getting out there. The more cricket we play together, hopefully, it helps us as batsmen. I think we just need to continue to back our skills, continue to be aggressive, and build on confidence.
That's Nicholas Pooran. We're now joined by international cricket commentator Fazeer Mohammed for a review of the day's play. Good afternoon, Fazeer. Welcome back to the SportsMax Zone.
Good to always be on the program, George.
Yeah, in real terms, India didn't have to do a lot to beat up the West Indies today. And anything positive to take from the performance of the Caribbean men?
It was certainly more competitive than the encounter on Sunday, which was really one-way traffic virtually all the way through. India winning by 22 overs to spare tells its own story. In this case, there was, because of the depth of the West Indies batting this time around, and indeed when I use that depth and talk about batting maybe erroneously given the repetitive collapses early on, but you had Odin Smith, Fabian Allen, Alzari Joseph, players who are quite capable, who could certainly smash it to all parts. So there was an element of anxiety there, but too many wickets being lost, too many wickets lost early on. And in the end, it's a familiar tale for the West Indies.
I've been waiting to ask you this question, Fazeer. Since the T20 World Cup and the poor performances there, the bad showing, in the limited overs games that the Windies would have played since that World Cup, whether 50 over or 20 over, have you seen anything to suggest that there are the ingredients for a competitive team being brought to boil by the time the World Cup comes around at the tail end of the year?
Yes, there are the ingredients. Whether or not they can do it, I doubt it very much, because I don't get the sense, George, that there's a real willingness to admit to the failings. And I'll just give you this as an example. Yes, the West Indies won the series against England 3-2 dramatically with that beaver trick from Jason Holder. But let's talk about the 50-over format, which is what we are just looking at with the West Indies team. And I'm going to give you the sequence of scores from the top order in the last 8 matches. And I'm not going to skip out any because I might be accused of only picking out the ones that make the West Indies look bad. Starting from today, going backwards, 76 for 5. On Sunday, 79 for 7. The Ireland series, 101 for 6, 111 for 7, 62 for 4, which was the match the West Indies actually won because of a big partnership with Shamar Brooks and Karen Pollard, the captain then. Australia, 75 for 6, 72 for 5, and 23 for 5, which became 123 all out. I don't see a way that you could talk your way around that, about rebuilding, about guys sticking together, playing positive, or the usual shallow platitudes. And I hold nothing against either Nicholas Pooran or Kieron Pollard, because it is not about a level of I wouldn't want to say honesty, but being, how should I say, straightforward about the situation. Because what you get, and I'm glad you played it, because I wouldn't listen to it, because it really is really repetitive. Because when the West Indies do win occasionally, there's the usual dig about the naysayers and all of the critics and so on. But I've just given you the reason why there's very little reason to place any faith in the West Indies being able to resurrect themselves to be a competitive force, probably even when the next World T20 comes around.
Yeah, but Faz, in fairness to Captain Kieron Pollard, hasn't he repeatedly, month after month after month, point to the batting as a real problem and suggesting that, they've got to pull their socks up.
But where's the evidence, Lance? Where's the evidence that those socks are being pulled up? It's all well and good to say it, but you have to deliver. This is elite sport, Lance. This is playing for the West Indies. It is not good enough for the captain to repeat that mantra and see the evidence. In any performance situation, you might want to say, well, okay, on this occasion, this one got runs or that one got runs. That's like saying that on every day, on any given day, on the SportsMax zone, Lance will have a bad day, or Mariah will have a bad day, or George will have a bad day. But don't worry, the overall picture was fairly okay. That doesn't cut it. We're talking about elite level sport, and you're expected to perform at a consistently high level, not this sort of mediocrity.
Yeah, now that you've touched on Pooran and Pollard in their post-match comments, can you assess for me your rating of Kieron Pollard as a team leader? Because I think there is a personality strength in his captaincy, which I think West Indies cricket needs. But there are naysayers about his overall leadership and man management. What's your rating of Kieron Pollard's captaincy at the moment?
I would give him a 6. Because it is quite obvious that he still commands the respect of the majority of the players. Whether it's any issue about anyone being victimized or anyone being targeted or whatever, all that speculation that went on a couple of weeks ago, that is speculation. We can only deal with the fact right now. He had a very good series against England, those 5 matches with both bat and ball. So he was leading from the front there. In the one-day game, it's a different story. A one-ball duck in the first match with a big shot to be bowled by Googly. Didn't play the second match with what we are told is a niggle. We'll have to wait and see what happens with the next match. So that's why it's a 6, because the performances in the 50-over variety continue to be exceedingly poor, while in the T20 format, again, because it's a shorter, more condensed, more explosive format, there's always that greater propensity for the West Indies to enjoy success. But still, you see that inconsistency, which makes it difficult to have any expectation beyond hope.
Yeah, I can't resist asking this one now, Faz, because you just said, as far as you're concerned, it's clear that he still commands the respect from the majority of the players. Now, from the process of elimination, it seems to me that you're suggesting that he does not command the respect of all the players. You said majority.
Quite obviously, because there is an element of dissent within the ranks. Whatever truth we want to place behind statements that would have been made about the team and who's doing what and so on, and we're not ascribing any improper motives, but quite clearly there would be an element of disaffection with the way things are going on. I give him credit as captain, is trying to hold things together, and as I said, you can sense the frustration as well when he's asked, because even on Sunday, when he was asked about Jason Holder, when being moved up the order, and his response was, well, I know you might like this or you might like that, and you, the others, might want this and that and the other, but we have particular things to do. So yes, there is an element of frustration, and within the ranks, it might not be entirely cohesive, but for the moment, unless there's anyone automatically available besides Jason Holder, and he has been replaced as captain, so I don't see them going back to him at this time, I don't see any automatic alternative.
Hear you on that. Fazeer, good talking to you as usual. We'll talk again. All the best.
Sure, take care.
Good. Continuing with cricket, though, following a story that surfaced last month about the unfair treatment of certain players in the West Indies squad, the man rumoured to be at the centre of the victimization claim within the West Indies setup, Odin Smith, was asked at today's post-match press conference about, asked to comment on that issue, and the question was posed by one of our reporters here at SportsMax.
Mood in the camp since the allegations of victimization surfaced in the media, and have there been any changes?
Yeah, exactly. There was never an issue of any victimization. The media are going to say what they have to say, but the mood hasn't changed from what it was. So yeah, we're all good.
Right, so Stephen Wilson there, one of our reporters, producers here, posing the question. Now, Lance, this video of this clip of Odin Smith answering that question has set tongues wagging on social media, wanting to know, well, where did the information come from? Because the man reportedly at the center of it all says not so. I'll ask you to comment on that, and then we'll take the discussion further.
Well, to be quite honest, I don't believe, given his position in the team at the moment, that he would say anything other than what he said today. So it's in a way good to hear him say that if he's being 100% honest. But in reality, if there really is an issue, no one would have expected him to say, yes, there is an issue facing the media as he would have today.
Absolutely. And to add to that, maybe by himself you wouldn't expect him to say that, but then if Cricket West Indies have nominated him to speak at the press conference, there would have been a word in his ear that, look, keep it to cricket, anything else, don't deal with any politics surrounding the cricket. Yeah?
Yes, yes.
Anyway, here's what is true, viewers. So you know that we reported here the claims of victimization against a player. And if you notice, I said reportedly Odin Smith, because in our discussion on it, we didn't name anybody. We didn't accuse anybody either. So I see persons, you know, suggesting that there's a particular individual who's at the center of it all in terms of being the victimizer in chief. We didn't identify anybody. But anyway, you can put two and two together. What is true is this. Subsequent to our claims that these things were happening and that the West Indies Players Association and the Cricket West Indies, the top brass of both organizations, were set to meet, we told you that that meeting would have happened within 24 hours of our report. We also told you that within moments of the show that we discussed that issue on for the first time, within moments of that show ending, communication was had between WIPA and Cricket West Indies to delay that meeting, that top brass meeting to discuss that issue until after the England series. So the England series is done, the players are in India now. I can confirm, Lance. I can confirm, and I can confirm, not because I asked someone to do it, but because I did it myself. I placed a call to WIPA to ask what of this meeting with Cricket West Indies. They said, okay, George, you speak precisely, what specifically do you want? I said, okay, one, was there a meeting between Cricket West Indies and WIPA to discuss claims of victimization of players in the West Indies squad by senior officials within the West Indies setup? Was there a meeting to discuss those things involving those people? Yes, George, was the reply. That meeting has happened. Okay, my second question. Who were the persons party to that meeting? George, you'd have to be a bit more specific. So I said, okay, was the director of cricket for Cricket West Indies, Jimmy Adams, involved? And was the Cricket West Indies CEO, Johnny Grave, also involved? The answer, yes, George. Johnny Grave was present, Jimmy Adams was present. Yeah? So the two key questions have been answered in the affirmative. Did a meeting take place? Yes. Were Johnny Grave and Jimmy Adams party to the meeting? Yes. My other question, okay, what were the main points of the meeting? I'm sorry, George, we cannot share those details at this time because certain commitments were given in the meeting about advancing some of the many issues raised about the broad matter of victimization, and until those matters have been adequately and amicably resolved, we are constrained to say anything further on the issue, and more to the point, we are only at liberty to answer those two questions, to confirm that a meeting had happened, to confirm that there were members of the leadership of both organizations present, and to identify by name the two officials of Cricket West Indies who were present. So that puts to rest this simmering narrative, well, this building narrative, that it's a figment of our imagination, we made it up, that there was no issue of victimization, and of course, because there was no issue of victimization, there was no meeting, we made that up as well. I can confirm today that the meeting did happen.
Yeah, well, that's an important story, George. I know that the opposing view to that narrative will probably go the route now to suggest that WIPA are trying to be troublesome.
Well, here's the thing. You know this very well because of your experience, Lance, in many areas. Whenever a bargaining unit, I'm not even going to say trade union, I'm going to go broader than
bargaining
that.
Unit.
Whenever a bargaining unit for a representational group, whether a group whether they're artisans, whatever their profession or vocation, their bargaining unit always has this label attached to them by the administration or the establishment that they are lobbying for rights and benefits and conditions, improved conditions for their workers on behalf of. I hope that all makes sense. So it is part and parcel that an organization like WIPA, by virtue of its raison d'etre, the reason for its existence, will always have that charge leveled at them that they're trying to rabble-rouse, that they're trying to make mischief, and that they're trying to rock the boat when all hands should not even be on deck, Lance. All hands should be in pockets while the persons sit on deck and enjoy the ride.
Yes.
So yeah, it was important for us to say that the meeting did happen, but further discussions will happen along those lines. All right, so put that to bed now. Mash down that lie. That is a figment of our imagination. Much more in the SportsMax zone after these.